Mira and HarlequinAudio presents You Will Remember Me by Hannah Mary Mckinnon, performed by Lauren Ezzo, Melissa Moran, and Alex Wyndham. Know thyself. If I knew myself, I'd run away. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe.
1. The Man from the Beach. Cold. Cold was the first word that came to mind. The first thing I noticed when I woke up. Not a slight, uncomfortable chill to give me the shivers, but a cramp-inducing, ice-to-the-bone kind of frozen. I lay flat on my stomach, my left ear and cheek pressed into the rough, grainy, wet ground beneath me, my entire body shaking. As my thoughts attempted to assemble themselves into some form of understandable order, a wave of icy water nipped at my bare toes and ankles, my instincts pulling my feet out of reach. I had a sudden urge to get up, a primal need to take in my surroundings and assess the danger. Was I in danger? But the throbbing pain deep in my head made the slightest effort to shift anything seem impossible. Lifting a finger would be too much effort, and I acquiesced, allowing myself to lie still for another few freezing seconds as the frigid water crept over the balls of my feet again. When I blinked my eyes open, I was met by a thick, fuzzy darkness enveloping me like a cloak. Where the hell was I? And wherever it was, what was I doing here? When I lifted my head a fraction of an inch, I could barely make out anything in front of me. There was hardly a noise either, nothing but a gentle, steady rumble in the background and the cry of a bird somewhere in the distance. I made my brain work its way backward. Bird, rumble, sand, water, and the quartet formed the vaguely cohesive image of a beach. Searching for confirmation, I inhaled the salty, humid air deep into my lungs as another slosh of water took aim at my calves. This time, the discomfort was enough to push me to my feet, and I wrapped my arms around my naked torso, my sopping board shorts clinging to my goosebump-covered thighs. An explosion of pain in my head threatened to send me back to my knees, and I swayed gently, wishing I had something to steady myself with, willing my body to stay upright. As I pressed a hand to the side of my skull, I let out a quiet yelp and felt along a 2-inch gash in my scalp. My eyes had adjusted somewhat to the lack of light, and my fingertips were covered in something dark that smelled of rust. Blood. How had I? Another low rumble made me turn around, shuffling slowly in a semicircle. The behemoth effort was rewarded by the sight of 1,000 glistening waves dancing under the moonlight like diamonds, the water stretching out and disappearing into the darkness beyond. As my ears tuned into the rhythmic whoosh of the waves, my mind worked hard to process each scrap of information it took in. I'm definitely on a beach. It's nighttime. I'm alone. What am I doing here? Before I could answer the single question, 1,000 others crowded my brain, an incessant string of chatter I couldn't stop or get away from. Where is everyone? Never mind them, where am I? Have I been here long? How did I get here? Where was I before? Where are my clothes? What day is it? My legs buckled, not because of the unfamiliar surroundings, the cold burrowing its way deeper into my core, or the pain in my head which had increased tenfold. No. My knees hit the sand with a dull crunch when I realized I couldn't answer any of the questions because I couldn't recall anything. Nothing. Not the tiniest of details, including my name.
2. Lily. A frown settled over my face as I put my phone on the table, pushed the bowl of unfinished berry oatmeal away and stretched out my legs. It was Saturday morning and I'd been up for ages, too eager, too hopeful, to spend a day at the beach with Jack. But those plans had been a literal washout. The start to the summer felt capricious, with this second storm in the last week of June poised to be much worse than the first. I'd convinced myself the weather woman had exaggerated or got her forecast completely wrong, but clouds had rolled in overnight anyway. As a result, I'd been unceremoniously woken up at 2:30 by a trio of bright lightning, deafening thunderclaps,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?